All right, welcome to my new video on My Hero Academia. And yes, you heard me correct. We are going to be defending with my best bud over here, kirbo.turbo. You can check them out on TikTok. Say hello.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about all things My Hero Academia in a positive way. And I wanted to find a friend that really loves My Hero Academia, and although admits some of its pitfalls, is very optimistic about My Hero, has a really good outlook on terms of what My Hero has brought to anime at large and sort of the manga industry at large. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about every good thing about My Hero, because there's so many videos just breaking down what My Hero Academia like messed up, that we also forget that My Hero Academia has done a lot of good things with its anime and manga. So we're going to get into that. There will be manga spoilers up to date as of this recording, which is February 13th, 2023. So if you are not caught up to the manga, be warned that there are going to be manga spoilers. We will be talking about the movies and the anime, but we will not be talking about Vigilantes, of course. That is something separate, and we will be staying away from that. And also, since I'm more of a pessimistic person, I guess is the best way to describe it when it comes to My Hero, I'm gonna add a condition. So my friend DJ over here is a big reader of fan fiction, and they have consumed a lot of fan fiction over how many years have you started, DJ?
Oh, middle school, so that's like what, 13? I'm gonna say 13 years.
13 years. So 13 years of just content and experience. And the punishment for me is DJ here, if they call me out on 3 separate occasions throughout the duration of this recording of me saying something negative about My Hero Academia, that will be a strike that will go towards that, and that will mean going forward, if I reach 3 strikes, I have to make a video on a fanfic they recommend and leave it a positive review and post it publicly on my channel, which I am not looking forward to. So let's try not to get there, but I know DJ is definitely looking forward to my downfall. Isn't that
Oh,
right?
I'm so looking forward to it. You have no idea.
Yes, and also one last thing, this is completely unfiltered compared to my other sort of videos, so there will be cussing, there will be strong language and profanity, so please be aware of that. That's just content warning. We may delve into some subjects as we talk about My Hero, but we'll mainly try and keep it on point, so just so there's no shock there. So let's get right into this, and by talking about, I guess, what is your favorite part, DJ, about My Hero Academia?
I mean, because the show came out in 2016. Obviously, the manga's been around longer than that. But like for me overall, I think it's the idea that superhero content can be adapted to anything, and I really enjoy superhero content. Marvel, DC, this superhero content is anime is made for like superhero content, which is really good. I really liked the shonen genre. So I think My Hero does it really well. I think My Hero, from season 1 all the way up to now, with some caveats obviously, but I think it does shonen really well, and I think that I enjoy Midoriya as a character. I think that's like my biggest connection to it is I enjoy Midoriya and watching him grow as a character.
Yeah, and I think Midoriya, like, to me, My Hero was actually my gateway into sort of anime when I actually understood what that was as a medium. So for me, I think one of the things that attracted me to the show was definitely Midoriya's character. Just always, like, even though he's down on his luck, even though he's quirkless, at the start of the show, his perseverance to still get into the hero school despite him not having powers, even to the point where when he gets One for All from All Might, right, he's still working towards that. He's still working his body. It's not like he's just being given it, right? He really earns it, and I think that's one of like the greatest parts about, I think, season 1 and 2 is you kind of see this growth of his character from like trying to prove that he is worthy of this power, because this is an opportunity that no one gets. It's like a very rare opportunity that was given to him, and he's just trying to prove that fact that, yes, I'm going to use this to the greatest advantage it is and become the best hero.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think, well, because if he didn't train up, he would have, exploded. So
Yeah,
there's
I mean,
also that.
yeah. There's also that.
Um, explosion's not really a good thing.
Yeah, he fucking dies. Yeah, that's a very much a possibility.
Right. But like I agree with you. Like season 1, season 2, we see this like massive like just like glow up for him basically. And then season 3 and season 4, like yet again with some caveats, I still think the seasons are really good. But you get to see more of him becoming his own hero and like his own style of hero, whatever that entails.
Yeah, and in season 3 and 4 specifically, I think you see him becoming even more dependent or independent, of sort of straying away from his mentors and really taking the knowledge and learning for himself. And I just love that for him because you see him fighting villains. There's no instruction manual on how to beat them, or he doesn't have any teammates, or not teammates, classmates to help him out. Like in season 1 and 2, he's really on his own, and so he needs to overcome these. Like for example, Muscular. That was like the major villain, like at the beginning of season 3. He has to overcome that by himself to save this kid, and it's like a callback to season 1. If you remember, like his first encounter with saving Bakugo, it's really like a through line, and I love how his character stays consistent.
Yeah, I think the like his character is just as a whole is he wants to save people. That is like that's what All Might did. That's what he wants to do. And I think that because of it, we really see this kid like go from nothing to something. And he like even at the beginning of the show, this is how the story of how we became like the greatest heroes. It's so interesting to see.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people stay once they actually. I think there's a certain point in My Hero Academia where you're like, I'm committed, and I want to say that's, to me, that moment was when Deku / Midoriya was saved Uraraka for the first time, because that moment it just gave me chills because it's him like he couldn't use his powers because of, like what All Might was telling him because his body wasn't ready yet, and it wasn't. All Might was right, but he still sacrifices like his arm to save Uraraka in that moment. Oh, and also leg too, if I'm correct, because he uses it to jump, right? Yeah. So I think just in terms of like him as a through line for like what I love about him is he's not like a one for Peter Parker. What people think of like the standard teenage hero of Spider-Man. He's very much his own character and he has his own flaws, but I think his good nature, his hardworking, how he studies, you really get to see the process of everything that he achieves is because of his own good work.
No, I'm gonna just agree with you. I think that season 1 has its ups and downs, but I think what hooks people really is the sports festival arc and him telling Todoroki like what the fuck are you doing? It's not his power, it's yours. And I think that is where you start to get like, oh, this kid's gonna do some fucking damage. Like if he can inspire, the number 2 son, then he's gonna go far.
Yeah, and that to me that was also one of my favorite arcs, was just his fight with Todoroki, because at the end of the day people were like, well, the fight just ended, right? It was very abrupt, but for me it wasn't really about the physical fight. It was a battle of philosophy. And even though Midoriya would lose, it was actually him that won in the end, because he's the one who ended up changing Todoroki for the better. And then later on, as you get to like season 7 in the war arc, Todoroki ends up changing his family. And that was all because of what Midoriya did for him. And even Todoroki admits that, right?
Let's talk about season 6. Because you were anime only for a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you feel about season 6 so far?
So I thought season 6 was actually like really good. I had a lot of things that I enjoyed about it, and there was also really shocking moments. And for me, I got through season 6. I know it's airing currently right now as of this moment, but I got to the point where Deku decided to leave the school. And I was like, this is a good stopping point. I actually thought the anime ended for a sec, so I'm like, let me just read the manga, because this is probably a perfect way to segue into that.
Yeah.
And then I realized the anime's still going. But I'm like, I already committed to reading, so I'll finish it. So from, I think, the start of, I want to say, Villain Hunt is the arc, that's what it's called. Onward, that's where I kind of started My Hero, like at least the manga part. And so everything before that was literally anime only. And
Right.
I think, as I want to say that season 6 has been a huge step up because, like to me, it brought back that nostalgia feeling from season 1 and 2, where it's just the villains attack, like they attack the school slash just attack like a random public place at random, and it's like, oh shoot, what do we do with the situation? It's like a chaotic situation, and it's the heroes more scrambling to fight them off rather than the heroes seeking out the villains, like in season 4 with what's Overhaul. Yeah. So to me, that brought back chills because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're in the moment, and it was great. And I loved the fight with Shigaraki. I thought that was great, and I also like how like the pro heroes. I thought it was funny how they're just like looking in disbelief as like Deku's like carrying everyone else because he's the one really doing damage to Shigaraki compared to everyone else. I thought that was really funny.
Right. So yeah, no, season 6, it has a lot of like hits and misses. Like with any anime adaptation, there's gonna be some hits and some misses.
Yeah.
But I think overall, like the first half of season 6 was pretty good. Like, you know, we're catching up to the manga, which is so bizarre to say. But like, yeah, we're like really close to the manga, which is baffling.
Yeah, I didn't realize how far ahead the manga was until I like finished reading it. I'm like, wait, we're that close? It's crazy.
I know. But like we're really close to like the manga right now and like all of that, and like there's like a whole bunch of things going on in the manga. But I think the second half of season 6 with like his vigilante, like what people are calling his vigilante arc, is going to be really interesting to see and like adapted.
Yeah. I mean, reading the manga, I was just heartbroken when the rest of Class 1A came to rescue him, because you can tell like Deku was shouldering like the whole weight of the world. Like they literally say that. And it's even more heartbreaking when they bring him in and everyone's telling him to leave. And that like, and the fact that like here's the part I think that's like, to me, like one of the greatest parts about Midoriya's character, like his character writing is, you know, if his friends weren't there to force him to stay, he would leave.
Yeah.
Based on what people were saying, because he would rather, like, he's a person who would rather sacrifice himself. Like you would see that in in earlier seasons where he'd sacrifice parts of his body just to like prove himself. Like he would do anything to make sure people felt safe. And so
I mean, we saw with the Overhaul arc with Eri.
Yeah, and I would say without Eri, Deku would have killed himself to take down Overhaul.
Oh, yeah,
he would have taken down Overhaul, but I think he would have been like either comatose or dead. Which I think it really speaks to his character. And like regarding other shows like Demon Slayer, like there's a lot of talk about Tanjiro, but I think in comparison, although lots of people like to praise Tanjiro as a protagonist, Midoriya really doesn't get that much appreciation, because he also has merits to him. And I think one of the things I love about Midoriya too is his strengths are his weaknesses, because everything that makes him like a great hero also sets him back, because he ends up becoming selfish. Like he leaves the school without telling anyone. He leaves the letters, right? And like the fact that he wants to become the number one hero so badly, like no one else, like the other pro heroes are like baffled on what to do because they're not on his level.
Right. I think one of like the most important moments, like in like the manga for me, was him rejecting All Might and being like, I can do this myself. And it was really that moment of like, oh shit, this kid is he's a little off the rails.
Yeah.
But it was fun to see.
Yeah. And then like, to me, the thing that hit the hardest was, I know it's like a common anime thing, but like when All Might drops like the box lunch and it like opens and like spills on the ground as he's leaving.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm like, now you know it's devastating because he ruined the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the other characters? Let's talk about the Class 1A as a whole.
Oh, Class 1A as a whole. So I think, although there are some characters who don't get enough screen time, like the two big ones I think are Sugar Rush, that guy, It was
Mhm.
like the wrestling costume. And then I want to say what's the with what's the guy with the tail? What's his name?
Ojiro?
Yeah, him. I think
Okay.
with the exception of those two, they're not bad by any means. I just think they don't get they literally don't get any screen time.
Mhm.
The rest of Class 1A I think are developed well. I think especially I think what to me, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. The thing that shocked me the most and really made me feel for the class as a whole, like they're a group, they're a team, was the reveal of the traitor to them.
Mm. Oh, the traitor. I think for me, this was the one miss out of out of everything. This was the one miss for
You
me
didn't like
was the
how they
traitor.
reacted to that information?
No, it's not even. No, it's not even about the class's reaction because it was yet again they're teenagers, they're children.
Yeah.
So obviously they're gonna react that way. But how Horikoshi revealed it, it was a miss for me. I just something about it. It was just because it wasn't talked about for months, and then it comes back all of a sudden. It just felt like a lost bit of information that Horikoshi was like, oh, I forgot about this fucking thing. Ah, shit.
Yeah. Well, for me, the way I looked at it was the reveal to me. Although you are right, it could have been executed better. I think. To me, what sold me on I was fine with the trailer reveal was the class's reaction to that and what they did going forward with that information. It's okay, we got the traitor how many seasons later, but at least we have it and at least they're doing something good with it.
Yeah.
And I liked the class's reaction to it because some of them were very, very pissed off, which I mean makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we also have sort of dealing with the issue of, I guess, Midoriya, what he needs to do, and the teacher, Aizawa. To me, I think it was the aftermath was at least handled well because of Aizawa's kind of reaction to that and his conversation with the traitor, which was Ioma, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think how they handle how the characters handle it was very this is just something we have to deal with and stuff like that. But they're kids, they're teenagers, they're fighting a war. I think at that point they had bigger fish to fry. So it was just oh, all right, well, this is something we got to deal with now.
Yeah. And I mean, we also, and I thought it was actually, the real reveal was actually, very fitting and almost poetic in a sense, because if you remember in season 1 of My Hero, when Midoriya was trying out for, what was it, the hero trial, what was it called? Do you remember exactly
I don't remember the exact
test?
name, but I know
it
what
was
you're talking
the hero
about.
exam,
Uh-huh.
the entrance exams. When Midoriya was, trying out and trying to, beat the robots, he was at first shaken. He's like, what do I do? I can't use these powers yet, and they're robots and they're all using their quirks to beat them. And
Mm-hmm.
he's about to be attacked. And then someone comes in and destroys that robot. You know who that was? Or do you remember?
I don't.
That was Aoma.
Really?
Yeah, it was Aoma. So Aoma's the first member of Class 1A that he meets. And he destroys, and that's why Midoriya starts freaking out, because he's like, this guy who has this sort of lame power of shooting out of his belly button, right? Destroys the robot first, and so it's Midoriya I have to step it up even though I'm quirkless, and he ends up panicking and then ends up saving Uraka in a very amazing moment. But
Right.
I think that's, to me, it was almost poetic, because if you think about it, the only reason Ioma was able to destroy that robot and get into Class 1A is because he did the same path as Midoriya, but instead of trying to earn it, he kind of gets it from his, and it's not really, I wouldn't say the blame is all on him. He also has really garbage parents.
So fair.
For
So fair.
putting him in that situation.
So valid.
So, but at the same time, it's the person who Midoriya kind of freaked out and is I need to step up to be on his level to qualify because he's clearly gonna make it in, got in because he cheated.
Right.
which I'm like, you know what, as like kind of a poetic thing, I thought, like, history repeats itself. I think this was really fitting. And then I also like the chapter where it delves into, like, he's kind of like a mirror from Midoriya if he didn't get his quirk from All Might. He got his quirk from All for One.
Right. I think the mirror parallel really like worked though in like that favor, because like we saw the parallels, and like like you said, like I read a lot of fan fiction, and so there's like a lot of fics out there that like explore that parallel, and it's really like interesting to see. But like I don't know, Ayoma as a character was always like really interesting to me, just because like, yeah, like this kid has no control over a quirk that he supposedly had for like fucking years. So like it was always a little suspicious, and like our friend Anthony called it immediately, and he texted me immediately when he found out, and so I was like, okay, because I thought I didn't think the traitor would ever be revealed, to be completely honest. So
you didn't have I read somewhere that the Invisible Girl, people were thinking she was gonna be the traitor.
yeah, I think it's because of the chapter beforehand. It looked like she was gonna be revealed as the traitor.
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought too, because she was peering behind, and there were people talking. You thought she was one of the people talking, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I thought the same thing. I thought this was a beforehand theory though. It wasn't just on that chapter. Again, I was behind.
Yeah.
I was catching up, so that's interesting. Man, that would have been crazy if the Invisible Girl like turned out to have like this really like overpowered quirk and was like the traitor. But
I know, being invisible, being a traitor, goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I also like I hate to admit it, I thought the traitor all along was gonna be what's his name, the one with like the monster face that can control animals.
Toda?
Yeah. I thought he was gonna be the traitor, because they said someone got into like the control panel to like deactivate the shields or something during like the early seasons. I'm like, how would they be able to sneak in? I'm like, what if he uses like what if the reveal is like he doesn't just control animals, he controls insects as well, and that's how he's able to get to the control panel.
That I've never heard of that theory. Is that like your own theory? Because I've never heard of that.
That's what I was thinking in like season 1 and 2.
Okay.
Or like someone with I wasn't really thinking Invisible Girl, because I think that would be too obvious.
Right.
But like I was like, there has to be some way they get into the control panel. And
right.
I was thinking like, who could do that?
That's an interesting thing. I've never heard of that before. That's actually a pretty interesting theory. Too bad it's wrong, but
Well, okay, but to be fair, we got a really great chapter out of it with what his name, Toga, right? Or Toda?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Who are you talking about?
The one that can control animals, his quirk.
Oh, Toda.
Toda, thank you. Toda.
No, Koda. It's a K.
Koda, thank you. Right?
Yes, Koda.
Koda, thank you. Yeah, so Koda, again, he's a minor character, so I haven't been paying attention to the minor characters. So Koda had a really good chapter. If you read I think it was like 2 chapters ago, or like 3 chapters ago, where he teamed up against what was it, Spinner?
Yeah.
Like that was good, and it also touched base on like racism within My Hero Academia, which is a real issue in the real world, and I'm glad that they're able to bring in like people may not take nicely to people who have quirks that deform them,
Mm-hmm.
Because
is a thing. I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Prejudice is a thing. I think like even like exploring like Midoriya's like own quirklessness. Like we don't get to explore the quirklessness a lot in My Hero. But like, obviously quirkless people are discriminated against. So it's just like it's really interesting that Midoriya was quirkless. His whole like class was against him, like Bakugo. I'll talk about Bakugo in a little bit. I've really feelings about Bakugo. But he like everyone's against him from the beginning, and then like he gets his quirk and like everyone's coming, like everyone's like, oh, like Midoriya's great, blah blah blah, except for like Bakugo, but like whatever, fuck that guy. He's dead right now, so it doesn't matter what
he's dead. I think he's gonna come back. No, they're saving his heart.
I think so. Listen, the Jart will always live on forever.
The Jart.
The Jart. It's
the Gene Heart. The Gene Heart. Yeah, Dom told me about that.
Yes, or the Jart. No. How do you feel about? We're on the subject. How do you feel about Bakugo?
I'm actually gonna be completely honest. I actually think he turned around his character. Everything post the fight with Deku, and then the All Might intervention, like everything after that, I thought his character was actually he's becoming like a better person. And like
Hey,
during
what
the
about
war arc,
beforehand?
and like I mean during the war arc, he admits kind of to like kind of being like an asshole because of his jealousy, which I'm like, okay, this is progress. And then they kill him. So I'm like, see, I'm fine with them saving him because it's, again, it's like an emotional tie for Midoriya, so there's a reason why they're trying to save Bakugo. And also I think if he continues down the path he is, he's going to get better. And I want to see like kind of like a changed Bakugo, you know, one that kind of like, you know, gives up because Midoriya just ends up becoming the #1 hero, or Deku becomes the #1 hero.
I think I have a lot of strong feelings about Bakugo.
Go ahead. Here's the place.
I think he's an interesting character. I think people that give him a lot of flack for like what he said to Midoriya as a kid, I think it's really stupid. Fan discourse to me is so bizarre, but I think that one's the worst one because he is a literal middle schooler, and middle schoolers say the wackest shit. I work in a middle school. Middle schoolers say the wackest shit. Sometimes that's how it be. Listen, sometimes you threaten your friend with suicide. That's it. Unfortunately, it's a thing. But like people who are like upset by it, it's like yeah, but like real middle schoolers say it. So it's like why are we arguing about a 2D character? That's another thing. People are anyway. Fan discourse gets me very upset, and this is a positive video. But I think Bakugo as a character, I think he's well-rounded. I mean, we're going from like this 12-year-old to like a 15, 16-year-old. Yet again, children, they're in a war. We're seeing this like immense character growth out of all of this. Like they're still in their first year. We're seeing this like growth and development. Like at some point, kids grow up, they learn and they adapt, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the adaptation. Yeah, he's dead. He may have beefed it a couple times at this point, but like, who's counting? I think for me, my issue is that it's a lot of wishy-washy with Bakugo's character. I think Horikoshi needs to stick to something. Either kill him off or let him live. One or the other.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think Bakugo has, although he's been mean, and I don't think he should be forgiven for the things he did in his past, I think it's really funny that he goes from kind of being, like, absolutely shafted by, Deku, when he gets his powers, and, like, when he, like, during, like, the, when Midoriya won the race in Season 2, like, the obstacle course, like, at least for, like, the first trial, like, how pissed Bakugo was, that made me so happy. Yeah. Because it put him in his place. And then you had, I want to say you had, Season 3 that kind of also did the same thing to him. It's like, you know, you had this shitty personality, we're also going to punish you by getting you kidnapped. And now your friends have to rescue you.
It's really a humbling.
Yeah, it's a humbling. That's what it is. Thank you. And then he gets killed in the manga. So I think it's a humbling. Like he's an asshole, but to be fair, his character's kind of going through the works because of it.
Yeah, and I think his apology to like Midoriya in the manga, like spoiler alert, I think his apology when they do find him, like it's very fitting that Bakugo's the first one to find him at that point, because like that was his first friend, like that's like his like basically his best friend. Like you can't get rid of years of history based off a few fights. I mean, we all know that I know that as like an adult, but like it's so like, and then his apology happened, he calls him Izuku, and like everyone's like, oh shit, well like everyone knew it meant something because he called him Izuku.
Yeah, and it's I think it was I don't know, I just thought Bakugo was like I would say he's maturing. Wouldn't you? Like as the series progresses, he is getting a little bit better.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Same with a certain great father figure who had also a troubled past with his family.
Who are you on about?
Endeavor.
Oh, oh, that.
Do you
Oh,
completely forgive
Endeavor.
Endeavor?
No, I don't completely forgive Endeavor.
I like how the manga like kind of justifies it by introducing more context to the backstory, like adding on to what you learned in season 2. So it's like he wasn't as bad as you guys were making him out to be.
Mitchell, I think this is the one thing we can be like, no, that guy's an asshole.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he
I'll
is
give you a
paying for
free
it.
pass on this one.
No. I mean, to be fair, he is. I would say he is paying for it. Like at least what's happening in the manga right now,
Right.
and also with like all the the public humiliation he's facing right now with the public. I think
It's
well
not
deserved.
right.
Well deserved.
Well deserved, yeah. Very
Everything
fair.
Dobby. I mean, the fact that you pushed your son to become Dobby is just like I think one of my favorite parts of the manga when I caught up was the Dobby versus Todoroki fight. Because
That's a good fight.
visually Dobby's burning away his body and it's like he's like a burnt corpse at this point and he's still fighting. To me, like I was like blown away by that, and also it's like this is what Endeavor did. This is what he did for his firstborn, and it's only because his son broke the cycle of like being harassed by a father figure that, you know, Todoroki was able to become a better hero.
No, and I think it's very symbolic, moving from that, moving like Dobby burning himself basically alive to the because of his father and all his transgressions. It shows that the past still haunts him and he can't let go, and it's causing him physical harm, and you see that. And it's so whoa, besties, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, and you could also say that his burning of his own body is symbolic for the Todoroki family as a whole, because if you think about it, his wife burned Dobby's body is symbolic, the burning of his body is symbolic for the Todoroki family, because Todoroki got burned by his own mother because she couldn't stand the fact of looking at him because he looked so similar to his father. And it's that's what's going through their minds. They're in constant anguish because the freaking number 2 hero, because of his own jealousy, did these things to him because he wanted to be number 1 so badly. For the sake of society to become the number 1, he ends up destroying his family.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I don't think I can ever forgive Endeavor, whatever, NG, whatever, because he's a literal abuser.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
There's a point where you're just maybe this isn't worth it, and then that point is never found, especially with Endeavor. So it's just this guy got what he was coming to him, and I can be negative about this because it's Endeavor. No one cares about Endeavor. If you do care about Endeavor, wow.
I mean, I will say he's getting better, but that does not excuse it, and he will always still be a shitting person for what he's done to his family. Yeah, 100%. And the fact too that he also was acting this way when Todoroki was fighting. He got into Todoroki's head in season 2, if you remember. The fact that Todoroki was literally gonna have a mental breakdown, and I would say he wouldn't he might have gone down the same path as Dobby had Midoriya not intervened.
No, you're so right. He absolutely would have. He would have proved his dad wrong, no matter the cost.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like the character of Dobby because, one, the reveal, the anime just... I was watching it when the anime adapted it, and it was so good.
Dobby's dance?
Yeah, where he, pours water in his head, and, the black fades away to, a white, a silver white. I'm that was sick. That was cool.
No, I really liked the reveal. I mean, everyone knew that.
Everyone knew. That's the worst kept secret. Yeah.
Everyone wasn't surprised when that came out. It was the fake shock that that when you find out it's not Santa, and it's the fake shock of oh, yeah. Yay!
I remember distinctively when season 2, I want to say the teaser. I was reading the comments of what people were saying on the forums, and they're that's gonna be Todoroki's brother, isn't it? It's that was when he was first revealed, no, you didn't even know his name, and you already knew he was related to the Todoroki family.
you knew he was gonna be some sort of big character because he was, introduced us as like the big bad guy, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, but I thought like I actually like see I wasn't sure how they were gonna handle like another League of Villains character, which was in Spinner. I thought Spinner got like the least character in season 3, and you barely knew anything about him other than he had swords and he was devout to Stain, right? Like Stain's
Right, yeah.
ideology. And I will say the manga is doing a lot of great things with him. Like they're actually going crazy. Like he got like a power up. He's almost like Godzilla now in terms of like his
Right,
appearance,
yeah.
and he's like destroying it. And he also has like a huge like you learn his like true motivation for what he's doing, and you actually feel that because of the people that he's able to rally up and attack the hospital with.
Right. No, I think Spinner is like an interesting character, not because like, he got so little like, screen time, like page time, whatever. But now we're getting into like other characters. I mean, is it a little late? Maybe. But like we're still getting like it's the final arc, but like we're still getting the characters. Like we're still getting the development.
Yeah, and I'm glad like at least they're like even like what's his name, the one that can with the marbles that can
Mr. Compress.
Mr. Compress, like he had a really good arc before he was captured. Like he had a really good moment. I think it
He's
was
also really hot, so good
yeah.
for that guy.
Oh yeah, with the mask off, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
with
his
the
thing gets
mask, yeah.
torn. Yeah.
I can say that he's hot. People simp over Dobby. I can simp over. I can simp over Mr. Compress.
I will say it's a little weird to simp over Dobby just because he has like literal burned flesh. Maybe for his character. Maybe for his character. Like he's literally like his appearance is literally Frankenstein. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever floats people's boats.
Whatever
I guess.
floats your boat. Yeah. How do you feel about Hawks? Like talking about Dobby, we can go into Hawks a little bit.
I think Hawks is the best pro hero, aside from Mirko.
Okay, yeah, Mirko.
Or
In my heart.
Mirko. I said Mirko. It's Mirko. Which I want to get into Mirko later because poor girl. But yeah, no. Hawks. I think Hawks. When they first introduced like the twist that there was something more going on, that he was like a quote unquote traitor, because he's working with the League of Villains, and then they kind of opened that up more to be like, no, he's more of a double agent. I thought that was like amazing. And then you delve into his backstory, and I'm like, okay, I'm sold. He's like one of my favorite parts of the show. I love his introduction. He's so cool. He has drip, He has a cool hairstyle. He has a cool attitude, right?
Right.
And one of the like coolest powers, and like most versatile as well.
I think Hawks is like he's so vastly every character in the show that gets like an ounce of screen time vastly interests me, because it's like, what are you doing here? Like why be here? And like then you learn like his horrific backstory, and you're like, wow, this is a lot.
Oh, that was heartbreaking.
Like,
that was heartbreaking.
It was so sad. Like I had to take. I don't know. I haven't told you this. I watched that episode, but I had to take a break from watching it because I was like, this is really fucking depressing. Like I read it, but like it's different. Like watching it,
Yeah. Well, like cause the shouting, like the way his father like scolds him, and then his mother basically calls him a disappointment, and like a nuisance, and like literally sells him out to the government. If you think about it.
Yeah.
Because she's you'd be better off with them. You could be a hero
too. They're not great parents, to be completely honest. Yeah, but whatever.
Oh, wait. Before we get into Mirko, I want to talk, because I know you are a big fan when it comes to ranting about the ethics of the Hero Commission.
Oh, I love the ethics of the Hero Commission, because they're so I could be. You said you can't be. I could be a little negative.
But here's the thing. I think you're confusing something. Before we proceed, we can say negative things about things within the show. We can't say negative things about the show.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, the Hero Commission sucks. I'm sorry. Like, what? First of all, we can even look at current season. They wrote a report saying like this is what happened at the like sites of like all the like the big battle with Shigaraki. Refused to tell the public that actual children were involved. Like that should be red flag like the biggest red flag of all. Like, not that the public knows, but someone should be like, is this really what we're gonna do? Like, cover up like a big government secret?
What do
Obviously,
you
yes.
mean the child soldiers were very effective in battle?
They were, and then some of them almost beefed it. Some of them almost died.
Well, one of them did beef it.
That's true. One of them did beef it. But like, God, just everything about the Hero Commission just rubs me the wrong way. Like how they handle Hawks, how they handle like every other pro hero, how they handle like UA, where it's basically like a military academy. Like, where are the other like pro heroes? Like, there's obviously other schools that do like that are like UA. Where are those guys at? Like, we're getting into like where they were, but like, how come we haven't
They're getting
seen
decks.
that?
That's what's happening to them. They're thinking they're like, oh, we're gonna be a hero, but then they get like absolutely destroyed by like
Yeah.
Muscular and all these heroes.
Like,
They're not doing anything.
great. It's not great. Anyway, I think the Hero Commission sucks. I think they're stupid, and I just they grind my gears. I just it's not ethical. Like, it's not ethical at all. And those kids need a therapist at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I love how the fact that they're like, yeah, you're freshmen. Yeah, let's take you to Vietnam.
Yeah, no, that is exactly what is happening. They're like, you're freshmen? Oh, you get to go fight in a war. You have All Might's power that no one knows about? Well, you're on the front lines now, bud. Good luck.
Yeah, and it's I will say it's really funny. I don't know. I think it's what I will say is My Hero does what it does really good is that for its really like shitty people and organizations, it really goes out of its way to show like they get what's coming to them. Because if you remember,
Yeah,
I
like,
think during season 6, Destro comes in and literally kills the chairman. I'm like,
Yeah,
you know
it's
what?
great.
This
I
is
love
good.
that
This
part.
is great. This is great. Dr. Doofenshmirtz killed the you
I
know.
love
I still think it's the funniest thing to come out of season 6. Oh my goodness.
Oh my god, you're so right though, because like at the end of the day, like if you look at any other like anime, like any other anime, like whatever, because I haven't seen Naruto, fun fact. But like if you look at any other anime, I guarantee you that like the laws and like the system they're working in is like 1,000 times better than the Hero Commission. Like the Hero Commission's at the very bottom of my list in any poll.
I love the fact that the what is it? Was it called the resistance? The revolutionary. What is it called?
Yeah. I don't know. The resistance is
the
fine.
resistance or like that Destro leads. He literally treats them better than the Hero Commission treats the heroes.
That's so true.
Because at
It's
least
just
they don't send children to war.
You're not sending children to war. It's just I
bar
have a
isn't
lot
that
of feelings
high.
about sending children to war. It's like these kids are like 6. Imagine, dear viewer, if you're 16 years old, you have some random quirk, whatever, and then they're like, you're gonna go fight, and you're like, excuse me, say what?
Yeah.
No, and that's you. No, your 16-year-old self would probably. It would not be well. It would not go well. They're sending 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds into war, which is so bizarre. And then they cover it up to the public because obviously the Hero Commission cares about one thing in its image, a la Todoroki, the Todoroki family. Like so many bad things.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great when the fact that they're, and I want to, it's funny, they have one of the most prominent like heroes, right? Some of the most powerful and useful and versatile heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And Nagant. And they fumble the bag and Nagant turns evil.
Let's talk about the women of My Hero because I have such strong opinions about the women of My Hero. First of all, yet again, I don't think Horikoshi writes women very well, and that's just a fact. That's just my fact. But like, there's like all of them are so like fucking badass. Like any woman in My Hero is just chef's kiss immaculate.
Yeah, I mean Nagant. I love Nagant. Like for when she appeared in Hero Hunt or not Hero Hunt, Villain Hunt. And
yeah.
when she appeared in Villain Hunt, that was That was crazy. Like, I love that because it's, to me, it was one of my, like, what My Hero really does well is the ideological battles. Like, when a fight is physical, but it's also a battle of, like, upbringings, like, what experiences. And the reason, like, Midoriya wins and also changes Nagant, because that's in turn of what his character is. Like, the fact that he also,
everywhere he goes.
yeah, and, like, he even, like, to the, like, think about all the people he has had an impact on. Uraraka, our boy Ida,
Todoroki, like anybody he comes into contact with.
Yeah. All Might.
Shinso,
like he thinks he's inspired by All Might. He inspires All Might more than All Might inspired him.
That's so true.
Like, he made All Might a better person because of his actions than All Might made him a better person. So, I think yeah. So I think
I love Nagant.
So Nagant was like I thought it was great, and the fact that they brought her back, like, even like brutally. Yeah, I just got a notification from Brandon. That's really funny. But even the fact that like, she's injured, like, she's bleeding. She moments ago hated society, wanted to see it crumble to the point where she was willing to work for All For One to see it, like, the downfall of society. That's how much hate was in her heart. The fact that Midoriya convinced her otherwise, not only to, like, defect from the villain's side, but to join their cause as well, that just goes to show how great, like, Midoriya is. And also how great Nagant is. Because if you think about it, if the Hero Commission didn't fumble the bag, she would still be fighting alongside them. And they're, like, imagine her and Hawks teaming up. That would, like, a lot of the issues in society would have been, like, a lot less, like, dangerous. But the Hero Commission, again, to your point, they freaking suck.
Yeah, no, I think Nagant, like, her showing up isn't it the most recent chapter she shows back up?
Yes.
Pretty positive. Like, the most recent chapter she shows back up, and you're like, hell yeah, like, bring a strong woman into this mix. Because, you know, Mirko, like, lost her leg, lost a lot of, or her arm, sorry, not her, wait, was her leg? It might have been her arm.
I think what happened was she lost, I thought her whole, so
her
whole body was burned. I think she lost an arm and a leg.
Okay, maybe that's why I'm getting confused.
Or I don't remember. I'm not too familiar.
I know she lost an arm for sure.
Yeah,
I know she lost an arm for sure. But, like, you know, Mirko's, like, beat up, whatever. Can't really do much right now. Midnight is dead, unfortunately.
Oh, that one hurts. That one hurts.
I don't know. Did you watch it in the dub by any chance?
I did not watch it in the dub. Is it worse in the dub?
I think they're, like, both the sub and the dub are on par with how heartbreaking it is to hear them sob for their teacher. Like, it's like Assassination Classroom sad.
Oh, like, I see, and the thing is, Midnight was one of, like, the fun characters that showed up.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you take out a character like that, it's, you, no matter what you do, no matter what characters you, like, introduce, like, new ones are just as fun, there's no bringing back that space that's lost. And I'm like, that was a good call to, like, if you wanted to feel like an impact of a death in the war arc, Midnight was, like, one of the good plays to go.
I think it hits on, like, multiple levels too, because, like, you have, like the teacher level, like, she was a friend to Aizawa and oh my god, I'm blanking, President Mike. Like, she was like a really important, like, bridge character, and then they lost her, and it's just like you feel, like, the sadness. Yeah, you feel, like, the hurt.
And the death too hurts because if you think about it, Midnight died trying to stop what's his name?
Which one?
The like, giant monster on the villain side.
Gig some Machina.
Giga.
I don't know.
I was gonna say Giga something, you know? She tried stopping him because he was gonna destroy the city and also hurt Class 1A, and that was, like, the main reason why Midnight wanted to stop him. She died not knowing what happened after. Because she failed to stop him.
Yeah.
And also, like, the death too, debris falling on her. That's like a bad way to go out, being, like, slammed against something. or something
And
standing
also, it's
against
the
her.
most painful way to go out. Like,
Yeah,
out of all the ways to like beef it in a war, I think that's like the worst
yeah,
possible way.
yeah. And also, I don't know. It's like out of all the characters, what's his? I'm blanking on the name because they're minor characters. What's the purple haired person in class 1A?
Shinso? No, Mineta.
Mineta, thank you, Mineta. Like even Mineta, you know, who's like a lot of people are like, oh, he's obnoxious, right? And like
Yes.
he's like, you know, he's more of the like one of the more like literally the horniest, one of the most horniest people in class 1A, and he's like has this reputation, but it's like the fact that you see him break down crying, I'm like, I don't know, that hit me emotionally too. I'm like, the fact that you made me feel that way for him, that I don't know. I just thought that was like a good call to, you know, kill
Right?
Midnight, kill Midnight in this moment to really feel like, you know, the impact of the war arc, because otherwise the war arc would be kind of forgettable, if like no one would die, you know, or there
Yeah.
aren't drastic changes. Which I will say, the war arc, the way they've handled sort of making it really feel like society has changed for the worse, really
Mm-hmm.
really effectively. Like like no one's living in their homes anymore, they're all in these shelters, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The heroes are leaving, heroes are either dead or they're like quitting, and like the public hates them. Like you really feel the turmoil of this is a real war that's happening, and I thought that was like one of the
Yeah.
really good parts.
I think yeah, no, like when like in the episode where they talk of like where Midnight, like they show Midnight's like death and whatever. Like in that I watched it in the dub because yeah, I'm a filthy dub listener, which is fine.
Wait, the My Hero dub is actually not that bad. I think it's actually one of the best dubs out there.
Honestly, you're right.
Yeah,
But
it's
like
not bad.
people have strong opinions about it. So yeah, I'm a filthy dub listener, whatever. But like I think like adapting like the when the hero says I quit in front of Uraraka, like adapting that, like that silence really went on, and I was like, I could feel the silence in the room. Whoo boy.
Oh,
It like reading it is one thing, but like watching it happen and watching like the horrors of just like, you know, people being stuck under rubble, people like can't find like their like loved ones and stuff like that. Like, oh boy, it is a lot to take in, and you're just like, oh god, there is so much going on. Those poor people, and then like people start quitting, like the public hates them, like he said, like you really start feeling like the angst of this world, and you're like, I did not expect to feel like this at 3 p.m. on a random afternoon.
yeah, and I think it's like it's almost like emulating a natural disaster in real life.
Mhm.
Like this feels like a real tragedy that just happened and everyone's like impacted by it.
Mhm.
So I think that was one of like to me I thought the war arc was actually really effective by its conclusion, at least like the first half, because of the impact it had on the story going forward. And plus you had a really cool arc with Deku in Villain Hunt, which is honestly one of my favorite arcs of all of My Hero. Now that I
Oh,
think back on it.
Villain Hunt's just a good arc.
Yeah, because you have him in one of his like coolest looking outfits, right? Going
Mhm.
after, and he's like, and they don't know if he's like a villain or a hero. That was my favorite part, because he's like,
Mhm.
I'm just doing what I need to do, to the point where he's turning
Yeah.
into All Might, which I know you aren't the biggest fan of All Might.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck All Might.
yeah. So I thought that was good. But yeah, I also want to talk about talking about like sort of the chaos within like Villain Hunt and then the war arc. I would say there's like a mini arc. Would you say like after Villain Hunt, and that's the introduction of Stars and Stripes?
Yeah,
And it's like
say
it's
that.
literally just Stars and Stripes versus Shigaraki, right?
Mhm.
I thought that fight was really well done, but I also like how they handled Stars and Stripes. In terms of
Yeah.
what she contributed to the story. Now,
Mhm.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
I think the Americans showing up is really funny. Because yeah, once again the Americans show up with the biggest bang. Um, but like yeah, no, Stars and Stripes adds a lot, and then you know she fucking beats it. So like it's like all right, another female down.
I love Horikoshi's checklist. Introduce some of the baddest female characters ever created, immediately incapacitate them or kill them off.
Yep.
It's just a 1-2 step. There's no in between.
Yeah, that is a fact. Just because, oh God, any woman like they like brought back Lady Nagant, thank God, but like also she's horribly wounded.
Oh, Mirko, poor Mirko.
Oh, and Marco too. Oh God, but like and like Stars and Stripes is so fucking cool and like so overpowered. But like we love her for that. Yet again, Americans
Yeah.
doing what Americans do best, being extra as fuck.
Yeah, I love how like the way that she kind of overcomes Shigaraki is literally by activating like so he takes her quirk, but she makes it the condition in her quirk so that it won't interact with other quirks. And so it's like literal bombs going off within his body. And I was see a part of me kind of I knew it wasn't going to happen. A part of me kind of wanted Shigaraki to die right then and there. Cuz that would have been so funny. That would have been so funny.
I honestly, okay, now that we're like talking about like we're getting to like what's currently happening in the manga, I think I don't see the end game. Like I see it kinda, but like I don't see it for sure. However it ends, it's probably gonna be like, it's gonna be hit or miss at this point. But like I don't feel like there's enough consequences going into like a final battle. Like this is like the final arc. We've been on this final arc for like 2 years now. Like I don't feel the stakes anymore. And that's just me as a reader, and like yet again, I'm a very particular kind of reader. But I just don't feel it. And that's like it's not like it is on his writing, but like I think it has so much potential and I'm not seeing it being fulfilled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I will say that they don't have a clear image of sort of the future. At least right now, because they had the way I think the second arc, which may feel long, is they separate Deku. So they had the ambush. I thought the ambush amazing. The whole execution of ambushing all for one. In terms of like we're gonna utilize all the powers and everything we have, and we're gonna use ingenuity to beat you, not necessarily overpower you because they literally just separate everyone. I thought that was like I was like a holy shit moment. And like I loved when that happens when I'm reading like really good manga, and that was one for My Hero. It's just seeing that take place. So you had that, and that was good, and then Deku of course was separated because of Toga.
Right.
And then he's now getting back, and now he's gone back. Now he's fighting Shigaraki. I think the war arc just feels long because of that separation, because there wasn't really anything happening with Toga at the time with her and Midori. Like Midori didn't team up with Uraka and beat her. He just kind of got away and then was playing catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think to that extent, that's why it may feel, I think the second war arc feels a little bit more dragged out than I would say the first war arc that they had. Like, because the first war arc was very much like, this is happening, and this is a result of what's happening. Like, we're doing this, and then it's just the fallout, right?
Right.
So they do the raid, and then Shigaraki, of course, attacks, and it's just recovery, right? Because more new Nomus come out, and they're basically trying to fend for themselves. Here, it's more, I would say, in a more of One Piece style. I know you haven't watched or read One Piece, but One Piece does it where they'll have like Luffy, the main character, or Deku in this instance, fighting like the main villain, and then you'll have all these smaller fights with other crew members / classmates in the background. And so they have to give enough screen time for everyone, or story coverage, I guess. And I think that's why it's taking more time, because in the first war arc it was more teams attacking rather than individual people, and now you have sort of individual people fighting individual villains, right? And then you have like this accumulation, which I will say though, I thought the fight with the third years against Shigaraki was really cool.
Oh my god, I love the third years. I love Tamaki, Mirio, like Nejire, like they're all so fucking cool. And like when Mirio shows back up in the middle of the first war, like you're like, hell yeah, he showed up. How he showed up, no one knows, but he's there. And like, like it's not really like they don't really talk about like how he got there. He's just like he's there. But like, I love the third year so much because like it shows like how much like the first years do trust their upperclassmen to like do shit. But just like, God, I don't think there should have been a second war. Like people are in the Bakugo's in open heart surgery. Like there's so many things going on. It just doesn't feel like cohesive.
Yeah.
Like yeah, they were all separated. Like yes, like I like the separated moments. Like when we had like the spinner stuff and they were breaking out. Oh my God, what's his name? The guy with the warp quirk. I can't remember.
I'm blanking on his name too.
You know who I'm talking about,
yeah.
though.
The one that's in
they're
prison.
breaking him out, and everyone's like, well, fuck, if that guy gets out, and then like whatever, he gets out, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I like those moments. I don't think it should have been as long as it was. But like,
could have
yet
been
again,
sped up a little bit.
That's just me as like a picky like reader. Like we didn't
Yeah.
see Deku. I think for like 5-6 chapters, and we were just like. And if you're reading that weekly, you're not seeing that kid for like a month, and you're like, where is he?
Yeah, I would say your thing is more like you like the ideas that they're introducing.
I like the ideas.
It just needs to be sped up. It just needs to be sped up. Yeah. Okay, I mean that's a fair point. That's a fair point. And then you also have what I will say though, I thought the reintroduction of and I'm blanking on her name already. The support class. What's her name?
Oh no.
Don't do this to me. I'm gonna have to look this up. Don't do this to me.
No, I'll look it up. Hold on, I got this. I don't know her name.
I'm just gonna keep talking. You know what I mean.
I feel so bad. I know who you mean. I'm gonna
Hatsume. Yes.
Hatsume.
Yes.
Hatsume. Yes.
I knew it. Hatsume. Okay. So Hatsume, I mean, okay. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna talk about this briefly because I don't want to go into the shipping stuff.
You want to give people satisfaction of shipping?
At season 1 and 2, I was a big fan of Deku and Uraraka, Midoriya and Uraraka. But since they didn't really get as much time later on, they had like little crumbs, here and there. I personally think Midoriya's chemistry with Hatsume is much more natural and better for him.
I will talk about the shipping stuff a little bit because, like, yet again, fan discourse, and I think fan discourse for this this particular piece of media is so fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me as a person. But like, I don't think Deku should be with anybody. Like at this point in the game, the guy just wants to get on with his life.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying now. I'm just saying in the future, it'd be nice to be like giving hints.
No, that's so fair.
Yeah.
But like, I don't like kind of like a Naruto Boruto thing. If we're going to get like an epilogue, I think it's gonna be in the form of another spinoff.
Oh, you think it's gonna be another spinoff?
I do. I really do. And here's why. My Hero makes an enormous amount of money. You don't want to give up the cash cow. And so how do you continue that? You'd write an epilogue, but you write an epilogue where they're older, where they're pro heroes, where they're doing other things, where they're not still in their first year. Like any form of like other content we're going to get is going to come in the form of a spinoff. And that's where I stand on it.
So do you think that like they're going to go straight like Boruto route where they're all just adults, or do you think there's a possibility you might time skip to them just being young adults?
I think we'll probably get them right as they're emerging as like pro heroes, like their emergence as pro heroes and following that.
So do you think the spinoff is going to be about their children or no?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be about them because I don't think anybody cares about their kids.
Thank you. That's what I'm hoping. People don't want to see like whatever random ass person Bakugo ends up with and his kids. They care about Bakugo. They care about Todoroki. They don't care about anybody else. Oh, I have someone for Bakugo, and I'm pretty sure I shared it with you. I thought the Snake Girl. From like the class 1A and B fight.
Oh, that's right. You did tell me about that.
I think that's natural. I think that's good chemistry. because they're both insane. It's great, and they love to like attack.
Oh, that's also very fair. No, I think for me personally, I don't think My Hero, like currently where it's at, they're just trying to get through it. Their life is hard.
You're treading on hot coals right now. I'm just saying.
I know, I am. I know. Anyone listening, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm a shipper at heart, but at this point, canonically, like, I don't. There are kids in a war. That's it. That's all you get.
They have bigger fish to fry.
They
Not
literally
dying.
have not dying. They're literally some of them are falling from the sky currently. Like, I don't think anyone's thinking about marriage or dating. I do, however, I will. There's one caveat. I do think Jiro and Denki's moment when she's like, "Do your best, chargeable." I thought it was so beautiful.
Thank you.
Loved
Thank
it.
you.
10 out of
That
10.
was one of my favorite parts. That was so good.
It was so good. It was like, it was quick to the point, but it gave me like that little bit of oomph, and it inspired Denki, and I was like, hell yeah, dude. Denki Kaminari is in my heart forever. Hopefully he never dies, but we never know.
The war arc 3 years later.
The war arc in 4 years, we'll be back to talk about the part 5 of the war arc.
No. Imagine the war arc is like, okay, so the war arc is actually going to take place for the rest of their high school.
Oh my god, I think I would throw a chair. I think I would throw a chair. At that point, I would just be like, let me know when it ends and then I'll read it.
I mean, it wouldn't feel like a real war because it lasts more than 1 year.
I mean, yeah, but like also, they're children still, Mitchell. They're still children.
They're children still, but they've dealt with worse. Like,
unfortunately, you're right. No, but I think yet again, shippers drive me nuts. But fan discourse in this fandom also drives me nuts. That's not what we're talking about here. But I think that yes, I think we are gonna get some iteration of a time skip. How it's gonna look, I think it's gonna be in the form of a spinoff.
Yeah, but didn't he say he didn't want to have them go through high school because he didn't want to age them up because it'd be too much work?
Yeah, but yet once again, it's about money, and if that's what Viz wants or Shonen Jump wants, who are you to say that they're gonna just give it to someone else?
Yeah. And also, I mean, I think if he makes them young adults, right, or like about to enter becoming pro heroes,
yeah,
like, you don't have to make any real changes. Because if you think about any adult in anime, they don't really have any physical changes to them.
That's so true. Maybe like eye bags, but that's about it.
Make them all look like
Adults
Aizawa.
are fucking tired. Yeah, no, adults are fucking tired. You're so right.
Yeah.
But no, but like even regular adults, like, if you look at me when I was 16 compared to like now, I practically look the same. And so it's like, it's not that big of a difference because I am a young adult. But like if I was like 45, I think I would look different. So yeah, no, I completely agree with you that, I think them emerging from young adulthood like to pro hero, like I think that'll be an interesting like time skip kind of a thing.
Yeah. And really quickly, I want to talk about one of my favorite characters. He's never missed in the show, and I think he's actually one of the only pro heroes I think has done nothing questionable and is strictly like has been a good person.
Are we gonna talk about Aizawa?
Aizawa, yes.
Oh my god, I love Aizawa. He in my heart, 10 out of 10 forever.
He's such a great character, and like the fact that he had that talk with damn it, what's his name? Aoyama, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
he's like, look, I know I can't guarantee that you won't be like, arrested, right? But you will always be like a member of this class, and you better like make up for it. Like,
yeah.
Aizawa was very much, I think he's like the most real person in the whole My Hero like universe. Like, he's very grounded.
So right. No, you're so right. I think Aizawa is a realist, like, even in the beginning when he's like, I'm gonna expel one of you, like, whatever, doing his bullshit thing. And, like, he doesn't expel anybody. But, like, you see that he does really care for his students. And, like, even in the current season, he's like, how are the students doing? Like, that's like, it's one of his first things when he wakes up.
My guy
it's like, how are
lost an eye, and he's asking about his students.
Yeah, I think Aizawa is such a good teacher. Like that is what a teacher is supposed to be.
All
Like
Might.
any yeah, you're right. I hate All Might, and I'm not gonna get into it, but you know, but like any like teacher, like any mentor in any other anime, like that's who they are. Like if we look at Assassination Classroom, I've made this comparison. I think Aizawa and Koro Sensei have the same beliefs and characteristics of each other because they care for their students. Yeah, it's a weird way of showing it, but they do care.
Yeah.
Like it's so
I think
nice
what
to
sold
see.
him was season 1. He literally got arms broken and still cared about his students.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I love
Yeah.
the fact too that he probably has one of the weakest quirks in terms of like power, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like he's not even like ranked, I think, in the top 10, right? Or even the top
No.
20. He's like lower
I don't
ranked.
think so.
Like he has a name, but it's not like out there. But the fact that he has been more effective in like actual battles and like for society at large, he's been one of the most useful members, despite his only power really being like shutting down people's quirks, and everything else with like his what is it, his cloth, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
all just skill that he had to learn. That's not his power, and he's taking down people with like full-fledged quirks.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because like a lot of people point out like Aizawa fights quirkless essentially. Like
Yeah,
he fights quirkless, so
he
like
just
it's
makes
like a
other
really
people quirkless. That's it.
it evens the playing field. And I think like also to speak about it, like his teacher like characteristics, like he takes Shinso under a kid who's not even in class 1A under his wing
One
to
of the
train
best
him to.
redemptions too, hands down.
Oh my god, I love Shinso so much. Yet again, Shinso deserves to be in class 1A no matter what. In my heart, Shinso deserves it. But like he takes this kid who doesn't even like he doesn't even isn't even in class 1A, but like trains him and like teaches him how to use like the capture weapon and stuff like that. I think it's like it shows that he cares. He wants kids to be the best they can, and like yeah, he this like Shinso's like character looks like a kid with a villain quirk, whatever. But like Aizawa doesn't see that. He sees him as a kid that's just trying his best. He's doing his best.
Yeah, and I think like, do you think Ioma is gonna get kicked out of Class 1A and Shinzo's gonna take his place?
If he does get kicked out, we're not gonna see it. I don't think we're in the right the right headspace at this point to really like theorize that. But like if anybody was to get kicked out, like it probably would be Ayama, just because you know he is a traitor.
Yeah,
He
no.
would go to jail.
Yeah, no, because I think Shinzo. See, and I love it too, because Shinzo, talking about like people that Midoriya has had an impact on. I think Shinzo, out of everyone else, had the most impact on Midoriya, because you got
Yeah.
to see like Midoriya got in his first year. Shinzo's trying, like a transfer student, trying to work himself in, and he's like
Yeah.
like roadblock after roadblock. He's still trying. And they're telling him how tough it is, but he's still like keeping his head up. And I think that's why I think Aizawa has such a attachment towards him, because he sees how hard he's working, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, and I think Aizawa's just a very kind person. Because like even he takes an Eri, and like that's like a thing like people like know, and like you know like he has this like rough exterior, but like truly he just cares about anybody in his life, and like that's really evident.
Oh,
And I think Aizawa is like one of the most well-written mentor characters I have read.
oh, 100%, like up there with Koro Sensei.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think also what's like really cool too is like you also get to see his backstory. Like as a student, he was just a quiet kid. That's all he was. He wasn't like an asshole. He wasn't like, you know, the popular kid. He was just quiet. And then he had this really great friendship. And then they delve into that with President Mike, and then their friend who turned into the teleporting Nomu, right?
Obero. He turns into
Obero,
Kirogiri.
Kiryu,
That sounds
thank
right.
you. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it's that to me when that episode, I wasn't expecting that. Because when they were visiting the prison for the first time, and then I watched that, and that broke me. I was like, oh, not Aizawa. Like Aizawa
Yeah.
literally gets like his arms broken, his like eye ripped out, you know, or clawed at.
A lot.
And
Yeah.
the fact that he's also dealing with this huge like mental toll in addition to all of that, that's
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's I I feel for the man. He's
Hardcore, man.
really trying the best, and I would say he he does the most for his students too, which I think is also great.
Mhm. No, I think Aizawa is, yeah, once again, like just an amazingly well written like mentor character. Um, I think that he deserves honestly to be rated as one of the best mentor characters. Um, but like he does care. He had like all of this like emotional turmoil. He doesn't want his students. I think that's also like why I like him. He pushes his students so hard because he knows that bad shit will happen, and like you have to be prepared for it, especially if you're going to go into hero work. Like, yeah, you could lose a friend. Like that's how this game works, and he's really he knows that because it's happened to him. Like it's hard shit.
Yeah. And I also like the fact that like he never complains. Like, and I love his introduction to the sleeping bag because you think he's gonna be lazy or have all these flaws, but when you really get to know him, he like he's dealing with so much and he rarely complains because he's like, I'm not here to put dampener on people. I'm supposed to be a teacher, and that's what I'm supposed to. And because he just wants to be a good teacher, he ends up becoming more than that. I genuinely believe, aside from like class 1A, he is the best pro hero.
Yeah.
Like alongside like best Genus and Hawks, because he actually gets stuff done. And
Yeah,
Milko,
that
too,
is that is true. He does get things done.
I mean, the fact that like he has one eye, like he's impaired, right? And he's basically reduced to like basically like paralyzed, right? And like where
Yeah.
he's standing, he's still fighting. And like one of my favorite moments, it was a shocking moment, and I have to give my hero props for it. That moment when the bullet hits him from Shigaraki, that removes quirks, and
Oh,
no
yeah,
hesitation.
Slices off his leg.
Yeah, because he probably
Yeah, no, that's hardcore, man.
Yeah, he no hesitation, just like I genuinely believe a lot of the pro heroes wouldn't even think about doing that, or would hesitate at least. No hesitation.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of like the most badass moments like you could like ever like see too. It's like just like the guy who cares so much, like slicing off his own leg to protect not only his like students but also fellow like pro heroes. It's like it's hardcore, and like you're like, oh my god, this is a lot of things happening. But it's interesting to see.
Yeah. And also, like, didn't he also see, I think it was the number 5 hero disintegrate too? Like, moments earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an insane scene when Shigaraki just took down the whole hospital. Just disintegrated everything. Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. By the way, let's talk about our big man, Shigaraki, for a
Our
sec.
big man.
Or little
big
boy stuck in a
man.
big man's body.
That too. The League of Legends player Shigaraki.
Oh, when I read that panel, I'm like, there's no way. But apparently it's a real panel.
Yeah, it's a real panel. Confirmed Shigaraki's a gamer, so all the theories are confirmed. We all knew. All the headcanons are right.
No, but like when Shigaraki, I think it's actually a really interesting thing what they're doing with him, because although it's not the direction I personally envisioned for him taking, I think it's still a really cool way to go about it, where Shigaraki is just someone broken. Like, I would say, was broken the most by Hero Society out of like all of the villains. To the point where, well, one, he had a defective quirk, right? Which is what Shinzo is dealing with, is that he's been labeled as sort of a monster because of his quirk, right? Like, his would be kind of mind control. Shigaraki's would be decay.
Right.
But then you also have, like, the abusive family environment that the Todoroki family has, right?
Right.
Then you also have the abandonment / poor mentor in his mother, which you could see that as Midoriya with Deku. Or not Midoriya with Deku, Midoriya with All Might. And then you also have, like, him being lured in by the villains to join, like, the villain side that is also present in Ioma. So it's like everything bad that's happened to characters, he's kind of had the worst of it and the brunt of it. Like
Yeah,
I would say he has like bringing like you know the Dudleys from Harry Potter, like how
yes.
badly they treated Harry. That's what it is. It's like he had the possibly worst like environment to grow up in.
No, you're very right. Like even watching like his like backstory and his origin and whatever, like you see that like man, this kid really went through some shit, and then like decayed his whole family, and
On
like it was
accident at first, but
it was
yeah, that happened, and then the half of
it was an
happened,
accident,
and then half of it
and then it wasn't.
and then it was. It's like it was an accident until it wasn't.
Exactly. But like, like this was just a kid who's made some bad decisions and like people took like All For One took advantage we'll say it. All For One took advantage of his shitty situation. A la Hawks, yet again, two sides of the same coin. But like yeah, you're so right. Every bad thing that has ever happened to a character is just Shigaraki embodied.
Yeah. And the fact that he also dies.
Oh yeah.
Shigaraki dies and then gets revived by accident.
Yeah.
Of his will.
Whoopsie. Also, I think it's interesting and kind of funny that All For One is also in his body and they're like fighting with each other. It's very Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of a thing. If they were both serial killers, because they are both serial killers.
Mr. Hyde and Mr. Hyde fighting for control.
Yeah,
Who's gonna win?
exactly. Who's gonna win? No one knows. But like, it's like the lesser of two evils. Shigaraki just kind of wants to like, stop the Hero Society. All For One wants to take over the world. So it's like,
yeah, and I think it's interesting too, like the conversation for All For One, because I actually think like what makes Shigaraki a villain isn't necessarily All For One. I would say All For One helped grow that to an exponential rate, right, with his transformation. But you also, I would say, if Shigaraki was like under All Might, I think he might have gone down the same path too.
No, you're so
it's
right.
Just him as a broken person, and like just him not having a good mentor, a person who just wants to manipulate them for your own personal interests. Like if Aizawa had him, I think he would have turned out very different. But
he would have been fine.
he would have been part of Class 1A. They would have been, hanging out in the dorms together.
Yeah, would have vibed. But no, no, I completely agree. I think Shigaraki probably would have ended up a villain either way. To the extent that it is currently, probably not. Really, the villain status solidified when you kidnap children, and so once you start kidnapping kids, your villain status really solidifies. In my eyes, at least. But
at least Shigaraki did not kidnap children or make them fight in a war.
That's true, but he did kidnap Bakugo, so we will say that.
Okay, but at least he didn't disassemble the body of a little girl and reassemble her for your own games.
Yeah.
Like, people aren't talking about that.
We don't talk about Overhaul.
Overhaul is one of the most disgusting human beings in the entire My Hero Academia universe. Like, a lot of people forget that he just, like, breaking apart, like, a little girl who's his daughter and then reassembling her to make a drug that will hurt people.
Very Show Tucker of him, to be completely honest. We're gonna compare bad dads. Very Show Tucker of him to do that. But yeah, no, Overhaul sucks. We hate that guy. But the fights though in that arc were very good.
Very good, but terrible person,
but
very good.
The Fat Gum Kirishima fight is just chef's kiss.
The Fat Gum fight. Oh, that was.
I love Fat Gum. Dear viewer, Fat Gum's 10 out of 10.
Fat Gum was one of my favorites. Like, that fight was, like, I was like, the fact that he absorbed all the blast and fired it back too. Yeah. Like, just the paneling, I was like, that was sick.
He Uno reverse card them, and it was great.
Yeah. I also kind of like the villains in, like, some of the minor villains within Season 4. Because you had, the Mafia, and then I think the two villains that Fat Gum and Kirishima were facing, they were really cool too, because I think they had like they're like talking about strength, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it was another battle of like an ideological battle, and I love that when they do that. So.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Let's talk about La Brava and Gentle Criminal real
Oh
fast.
my gosh, I completely forgot. The best.
Oh no, I'm gonna be a little. I don't understand why they brought those guys back. I'm so lost as why they're back.
Hey, you have to give him credit. He wiped out an entire jail full of like criminals by himself.
I understand that, but once again, why are they back in the main story?
Hey,
They could have been like, a Gentle Criminal.
They almost foiled that. They almost foiled the UA festival. So, what other progression? Where else are they supposed to go but up? You know, one day they're like trying to destroy like a festival, like a school festival. The next they're saving the world from another outbreak of villains.
Who cares? They were just such like random characters in that. What season was that? Was that 5 or was that 4?
That's season 5.
Was it 5?
It was in between 5.
Random, yeah. It was like, yeah, you know what? We're gonna throw an itty bitty fight in here because it's too school festival-y. We gotta remind people
telling me you don't like Gentle Criminal? You don't like how fancy he is? How gentlemanly?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
You don't like it.
No, I didn't make a bet with me, so I can say that I don't like Gentle Criminal, and I don't understand why Gentle Criminal and La Brava showed back up. It's so baffling and confusing.
But like La Brava's literally hacking into the mainframe.
I understand. I understand, but it literally could have been any other person.
Oh,
like,
come
why
on.
her?
Come on.
I think it could have been any other person. Why her? Is it because like it was
the arcs? You don't like
yeah,
that?
I was gonna say the Deku's influence. Like who? Like I just. I understand, like, it's like, oh, we're pulling in, like, just characters from, like, you know, past, like, whatever, because that's what they did with, Stain, like, whenever,
Muscular,
that's what they did with Stain, but, like, just, like, Stain made sense, this one didn't.
Oh,
it's like my one gripe with, like, the whole thing, like, the whole new, war arc is, like, those guys, it could have been any other person, and I probably would have cared less. I don't care.
You sound like a hater. That's what it sounds like. Gentle Criminal.
This is
the social media superstar.
I'm anti-YouTubers. That's what I am.
Damn. Okay, I see how it is. I'll leave right now. I see how it is.
No, I'm kidding. I'm just against that guy.
Okay. But to be fair, maybe one of the reasons why I feel it's fine for them to come back is because I need some copium after I saw what happened to my girl. Also from season 4 because it was her arc. I just need some copium after she got her ear blown out.
Oh, are you talking about Jiro?
Jiro, yeah. Jiro's ear.
Yeah.
She lost an ear, please. I just need some copium. I mean,
Bakugo lost his life, so like, who cares at this point?
But Jiro lost her ear, so.
Who's the better character, Jiro or Bakugo? It's obviously Jiro. We support women here.
Clearly.
No. Clearly, women are the best character, no matter what. But yeah, no. Jiro, I love Jiro as a character. And I wish the women of Class 1A or Class 1B even got more screen time.
Yeah. By the way, there's a lot of I mean, we've seen some of them, but a lot of Class 1B is still missing. I would say. Like the big hand girl. Which I also, by the way, you were telling me about the manga. What's that guy's name who can replicate or mimic powers? Monoma. You're right. Monoma does have like a really important moment. So I guess.
Yeah.
I guess he's doing stuff. He's there. He's actually contributing.
He's having his moment. He's contributing. We don't hate him right now. Hopefully, he might say some things, but
we just need him to get humbled. That's all we're asking for.
He needs the treatment. He just needs to like blow up his heart, and then like we'll bring him back to life. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
He's just a little humbling.
Yeah. So So out of the whole, I guess, out of maybe out of the entire show, what is the best moment for you and why?
God, it's so hard. Out of the whole show, what is my favorite moment? Okay. It's more like a series of moments. I'm gonna bend the rules a little bit here. It's more like a series of moments. I think showing, and it's gonna sound so cliche. I think Bakugo and Midoriya's relationship and where it was building up to is so vastly like touching to me because like they start off as kids, they're best friends, they move into middle schoolers say some whack shit, whatever, they're not friends, move to high school, they have this like fight, the Deku versus Kachan fights, both part 1 and part 2 are so good because it's like it shows like how they're like growing and adapting, and Midoriya realizing that like he need like this is like Bakugo's like release of like all of the things he's been holding on to, including All Might's ending because he blamed himself for it, and then like Bakugo sacrificing himself in season 6, like shoving like Midoriya out of the way, being like I didn't react, like it was like I wasn't thinking, my body just moved, and then like him apologizing, like all of these moments are like built up to like this like really like they have a strong like it's not like you can't akin it to a friendship, it doesn't feel like a friendship, it's more like a partnership, like they feel they're connected to each other no matter what. And like Midori gets mad, like Midori got fucking pissed when Bakugo got done in by Shigaraki the first time. And like it's important to see that, and I think it shows like it's friendship, it's a partnership, like they're still going to be involved in each other's lives no matter what. And like Midoriya, he may have not we can never know like what because they're 2D and fictional, but like he at this point he's probably forgiven him for a lot of things, and it shows that like people adapt and change, and you have to recognize that, or you stay stuck in the past. And I don't think Midoriya's character growth allowed him to stay stuck in the past. It's very interesting.
Yeah. And also I also like the fact that it's not even like it's not tropey where it's the hero beats the villain and then the villain of course like becomes their friend or becomes their ally, right? This is gradual. Like from Midoriya saving him that first time, Bakugo's like, piss off, right? Like I didn't ask you to save me, even though he would have died, right?
Yeah.
And it's gradual, and like and I think it gets to a point where you start to really see that. I think, and to your point, with I think it's season 3 when they have that fight, and then All Might intervenes, and then they reveal the One for All stuff to Bakugo, right? It's from that point on where Bakugo starts to realize, like, damn, I was an asshole, and like, he was dealing with things I had no idea or no understanding of, like, what he was dealing with. And so, he starts to become a more mature person. I think, yeah, that's all. I think as much shit as people want to give Bakugo, as much as people laughed at, like, I literally got spoiled that he fucking died in the manga because everyone wanted to shut up about it because I saw that picture everywhere. But
yeah,
so I would say like it's one of like the best parts because it's like as much as he is a shitty person, yeah, there's a lot of things that I think they shouldn't 100% forgive him for, such as like the abuse like during his childhood. I will say where they're moving, you're right, it is a better place, and I want to see this grow. And hopefully unfortunately it's not a Jart, but hopefully the new heart that he gets will end up saving him in the end.
A Jart. It is a Jart. I don't know what you're talking. It is a Jart.
Well, it's not from Best Genus, is it?
No, he's sewing him up with his thread. It is a Jart.
It's a Jart? Okay, fine. It is a Jart. I'll concede.
The Jart. Yes, the Jart.
Yeah.
No. I really appreciate, because like that's how friendships work, especially if you've known someone since fucking childhood. Like, I don't know. I very much into like psychology and how kids develop and like how adolescents develop in particular, and like this is a developmental phase, and yeah, they're going through like fucking horrendous things like war, but like it shows that like even still like Bakugo cares. Like, there was still some inkling that Bakugo cares, and he's showing that by helping him train, by helping him like we saw in like in the beginning of season 6, like he was helping him train. Like, he's trying to make amends for what has happened, and yeah, like, we shouldn't forgive him for everything, because, like, you know, every person has their flaws, whatever. But you know, you can't compare the crimes of a 12-year-old to like a 16-year-old now. They're vastly two different people.
Yeah, and I think, I think a lot of people, I don't know. I think My Hero, it's in this weird spot, right? Because in my opinion, I think, and I'm gonna break my strike rule right now. I'm only gonna drop one because this is near the end, and I can drop this right now. I think My Hero is definitely overrated by a lot of people's standards. The people who are very passionate and tend to ignore its flaws, I think they need to be realistic and say, hey, this didn't work out. It should have been handled better. The pacing should have been better. Because there's lots of slow moments and there's lots of rushed moments within the manga and anime. But I also think, and it's a common theme with a lot of popular anime I'm now seeing, it's also very overhated. And when people tend to overhate My Hero, specifically people who watch more anime, they start to say, well, this anime is better. Well, because the animation kind of like isn't as up to par like these other shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of overlook what My Hero does really well. And I have a special place in my heart for My Hero because it was my literal gateway. And I remember watching it, and this is why I like fell into this type of storytelling, because it's this big world of superheroes that were running around. You had that fight with this was when season 2, season 3 wasn't even out yet. Season 2 just released, and I remember watching that fight weekly with Stain versus Ida and Midoriya, and that blew me away. I was like, this is amazing. I love this. This is amazing. And there are so many moments, even past season 2, as much people want to say it peaked in season 2. There's so many great moments after that I think a lot of people discount. And I think one of them is what you talked about, was Bakugo and Midoriya's relationship and how they sort of grew as people. And I think there are moments like that, and I think people should I think there's a good direction to take this. And if he ends it and he does make a spin-off, if he's not gonna nail the ending, in my opinion. I don't think so. But if he makes a satisfying enough ending, I think I would be open to reading his spin-off if he does like a continuation, like you're theorizing.
Yeah, I think my final concluding thoughts, at least, is that no, I completely agree. I think My Hero's overhated, but overhated and overrated at the same time.
Yes.
I think My Hero does things really well. I think that like it's a great opening show for like someone who's just getting into anime. Like you said, like when the pandemic first hit, and I had been out of anime for a while now, like season 4 was coming out when the pandemic hit, and so like, you know, I picked it back up, and like it reminded me of a simpler time, like when I was like, you know, 16, and like when the show was first coming out and stuff. And so like it was really a nostalgia moment, but like it got me back into like anime and stuff like that. It really is an important show for a lot of people, because like a lot of people, you know, they were in their teens when this show started coming out, and they might have been younger when the manga started coming out. The manga came out in 2014, or started coming out in 2014. Like it's such a like an important like piece of yeah, there's been manga that are older, like, you know, you have One Piece, you have Naruto, you have other mangas and other animes that have been around a little bit longer, but for like a newer generation, this current one, it's so important because it was someone's first anime they've ever seen. Is it overhated? Yeah. Is it overrated? Yeah, because like, you know, there's other better ones out there, but like this one is really important to a lot of people, and I think that like we don't know where it's gonna go. I hope it gets better. I hope it's gonna wrap up soon. I mean, we're in year 2 of, you know, a final arc.
End of year 1, I thought.
No, we've been ending for a while. Are we the end?
We're still year 1.
No.
Yes. We're in
Oh,
like
really?
April. Yeah, April of year 1. So it's like 1 month until graduation.
No, no, no. I meant we're like in the final arc. We're like 2 years into the final arc.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
or
I
a
thought you were talking
year. Yeah,
about
no, we're
time.
in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're good.
No, 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 not time. I know where we are in the
That's what I
canonically
was
in the
confused
timeline.
about, because I'm like, you know the timeline. You talk
No,
about
I
it all the
know where we are.
time.
Yeah, I know the timeline, but we're like 2 years into the final arc. Like it's a little dragged out. It's a little tiring. Like it's just kind of like get to the point kind of a thing. But like I think that like our friend Anthony would always say, like My Hero holds a special place in my heart, and it holds a special place in mine. Like it's such a like a good it's a good show. It's not a great show. It's not a bad show. It's a good show.
Yeah, and also it
Um,
introduced all these cosplays, and like it really revamped anime in like the West. Like you can't say that
yeah.
My Hero did not start the anime boom. Like a lot more people
Oh,
became normalized to
absolutely.
anime because of My Hero. Like it's the
Absolutely.
safe
I
anime.
think
Yeah.
yeah. I think yeah, like Haikyuu, My Hero, like those like types of anime really like helped like not only like anime itself, but like bookstores even like it kept like Barnes and Nobles from going out of business because like anime manga got so popular. Like it saved bookstores. Even Demon Slayer, like these animes got so popular, these mangas got so popular that it saved literal businesses. But it's so yeah, it's so bizarre to see, and like it caused like a big anime boom in the West, and like now people are becoming more and more like it's not like a nerd thing anymore.
Yeah.
It's like a cool thing now.
And
Like
also
because when I can't talk about your experience in middle school, but in my experience, if you watched anime, you were a nerd. Like you
oh
were like
yeah.
the
Oh, 100%. That was the
lamest
Sigma.
kid.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but like I was just saying, like, didn't also My Hero, cuz I just quickly remembered, wasn't it the first like mainstream anime to get a movie in theaters?
I think
Because I think
so.
I think the first one came out before Demon Slayer or Mugen Train, right? Like I
Yeah,
think Mugen
it
Train,
did.
the box office success of Mugen Train started the trend for anime movies in theaters, like going forward. Like that's what Demon Slayer like Mugen Train caused. But for My Hero, I think that was the first that led to Demon Slayer being put in theaters in the U.S. Because I don't think it was like a huge profit, but it was like a substantial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think like for and like yeah, I agree. I think like it was one of the first to be in theaters or like
Aside from like Ghibli and all the arts, like
yeah,
mainstream stuff, yeah,
like especially want to be like widely like shown in theaters too.
yeah,
Like because
widely shown, yeah,
and some anime movies like that you were like they were there for like a little bit, like whatever, like a stint or something, like at a like the Loft here,
yeah,
they would be shown at like art house theaters, but like not like you can't go to your local AMC and watch it. Like we saw it at AMC, that was fun, or the second one we saw at
yeah.
AMC. No, did we first one together? Didn't we?
We did not. We watched the third one.
We watched the third one. Is there a third one? No, there's like three My Hero movies.
There's three. There's Heroes Uprising, Two
Oh
Heroes,
yeah,
and
Two
then the
Heroes, and then it's Heroes
yeah,
Rising and World Hero Mission.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay, yeah. So we did see the third
yeah,
one
because they have
together.
the
No,
cool
yeah,
cloaks on there that they wear for like 30 seconds.
yeah. That is so true. No. Also, I just learned that the Two Heroes movie in 2017 became the 10th highest grossing animated film in the United States and Canada
That's crazy.
at the time. So in 2017,
Yeah, but see, that's
just
what
letting you
I
know.
think that's what started the boom then, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah. So I think like my concluding thoughts is like My Hero has problems. I think it has a lot of good things going for it, and we should be looking at it. I think there should be more talk, because I think on the internet, at least in general, there's more discussion about hating certain things within My Hero than appreciating. And I think we should have more things that talk about the great things within My Hero. Because there used to be like that in season 1 and 2, but I think people tend to become more negative as a show progresses, right?
And as I see more shows, like I know for
Yeah.
me, I have watched a fair amount of anime. My anime list can tell you that for sure. But like I think, and like this was like my final like piece. I think that the more you watch, the more you're like, oh well, this show that like I watched when I was little, it doesn't hold like the same like candle as it does to like other animes like Blue Lock. Blue Lock's I think Blue Lock's animation is really good. I think My Heroes is like it's very like middle of the road. Like it's not like amazing, but it's not also tragically bad either. I think it's a really important mid ground show for people to start on.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think that's my piece.
and I think I don't know. I just think My Hero, like Deku's awesome. Like I think there's worse shows. Like if you watch My Hero and just turn it on, you'll at least find something entertaining, right? And like at the end of the day, that's all I ask for in a show. So I think
Be entertaining, yeah.
So yeah, thank you guys for listening. I feel like this is the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kirbo.turbo, for joining me. Again, this is their TikTok. Go check them out. They make really good TikToks. You also have a lot of followers, don't you, and likes?
You don't have to say that. They're not that good.
No, it's a crazy amount. Like it's substantial. Like
I do have
take
an
pride
amount
in
of
it. Come
followers,
on,
but
take pride in it.
they're not. My TikToks are not that great. I don't know why you're overhyping them. If you are into like I talk about fan fiction, I talk about my like anime. I'm really into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles right now. So if you're into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, absolutely. I make playlists. Like yeah, absolutely. But don't overhype my TikTok.
Okay, then I'll say whelmed then, not overwhelmed, just whelmed.
Yeah, just whelmed.
Just whelmed. All right. So thanks for listening. I hope we didn't upset you too much. I try to say more on the positive side with My Hero because there's a lot to enjoy. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.